so that, okay, let me record this session so that whenever you guys want to go through the lessons, you can just come back to the video. I'll send it at the end of the lesson.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So buy stops. Yeah, like I was saying, these are just future trades that you place. So what they do is they tell your broker to place a buy order for you when price reaches a certain point. So for example, if price is currently at $1 and you want your broker to place a buy order for you at $2, you're going to state in your order that when price reaches $2, place a buy for me. That's basically what the buy is. So it waits for price to increase to a certain point before it executes the trade for you. So it's basically a future trade that you're placing. Then a sell stop is basically the opposite. So it waits for price to drop to a certain point before placing a trade for you. Now, for the easiest CMB strategy, you're going to be smart. You're going to be placing both a buy stop and a sell stop. So whichever direction price goes, one of them is going to hit, is going to get triggered either way. So if price is a buy, the buy stop is going to get triggered. If price is a sell, the sell stop is going to get triggered. So by you doing this, you're basically hedging the news event. I hope that was easy to understand.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
So for the easiest MB, in one single account, you'll be placing both a buy and a sell stop. Now, when it comes to executing the same buy and sell stops, you'll be placing them 10 pips away from price's current position. Pips, how much do you guys know about pips? Do you understand what a pip is? Or should we go through it?
Yes, I think it's movement of price in the market.
Yes. A pip is just a way of us measuring how far price has moved. Sorry, was that Ken or you, Dre?
Dre.
Okay, Ken, do you remember anything about pips?
Yeah. I think I can. Anyway, it's coming back. It's coming back.
It's coming back. We can go through it if you want. That's no problem.
Yeah, briefly, just to sort of refresh my mind.
Okay. Let me just open the slide for price. If I can find it. Okay, it's not here. Just give me a second. Let me just add one more slide.
Okay.
Okay. You can see the current slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this example, we're going to be taking EUR/USD. EUR/USD, this is just the currency pair. Now, we're going to focus on this price alone. Don't worry about this price. So this is how price looks when it comes to currency pairs. This is for a non-JPY pair. As you can see, it's got 5 decimal places. So by using that, that's basically how you tear apart the types of currency pairs. Anyway, 5 decimal places, that means it's a non-JPY pair. Now, when it comes to price, we always ignore the last decimal place here, the 4th one. So in this case, we're going to be ignoring the 2 at the end here. So when it comes to calculating pips or movement in price, we always start from the second last decimal place. So for a non-JPY pair, it's the 4th decimal place. The 4th decimal place from the decimal here. Anyway, so if this one becomes, let's say, a 3, that means the whole price has gone up by 2 pips because we ignore the last decimal place and we start counting pips from the 4th decimal place here. So if that one becomes a 4, that means the whole price has gone up by 2 pips. So basically, pips are just movements in price. I hope this has jogged your memory, Ken.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. There's one more thing I wanted to explain. For this part, we're just going to be looking at USD JPY here. Like I said before, for non-JPY pairs, they've got 5 decimal places. The other type of currency pair is called a JPY pair. Basically, what that means is if it's got JPY in it, that means it's a JPY pair. If it doesn't have any JPY pair, if it doesn't have any JPY in it, like this currency pair here, that means it's a non-JPY pair. Now, the thing with JPY pairs is that they're quoted in 3 decimal places instead of 5. So just like the non-JPY pairs, we ignore the last decimal place. And the second decimal place from the one we've ignored, that's where the pips begin. That's where we start counting from. So this might be important when it comes to adding the pips for a buy and sell order. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so yeah, the easy SMB. It only requires one account to be placing both a buy and a sell stop, but you'll be placing them 10 pips away from price's current position. Now, I hope everyone has now understood what the pip is. So you're able to calculate pips.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So moving on. My slides in order. Oh, okay. For the easiest SMB, there's a specific list of news events that we choose to trade it with. This is the list here. So it includes cards, GDP, GBP, GDP, AUD interest rates, GBP PMI, AUD retail sales, Euro interest rates, GBP interest rates. These are the only events these are the only events you should be trading the easiest SMB with. So I'll send you guys a screenshot of this on WhatsApp, or if you want, you could memorize the news event so that you don't have to be pulling out this photo every time you want to trade. So yeah, any news event that's not amongst these, we basically don't trade them. Now, just to run through this quickly, a news event. News events are what we will be trading as fundamental analysis traders. These are basically periods of times when countries release reports on how the economy is doing. So for example, this here, the first one here. This is just a time when Canada is releasing their GDP report. So they release a prediction of how it's going to be, and they'll tell you how it has performed in the past and so on. Now, what entices us to trade news events is the response to these same news reports. People want to make money off of the same reports. So if, for example, they release a positive GDP prediction or a positive number that has happened, people are going to respond positively in most cases. So when they buy a currency soon enough and sell it after the hype has increased, they're going to make a profit. Now, the process of all this happening causes currency pairs to spike in value. Now, that same spike is what we choose to trade as fundamental analysis traders. So that's basically news events.
So I do not hear the part for what happens if there's a news that is happening.
What basically happens is people, they flock to whatever country's currency is releasing the report. So in this case, it's a Canadian event. So basically, any pair that has got the Canadian dollar in it is going to see a spike in value. Yeah, it could be up or it could be down. But anyway, that same price movement, that's what we choose to trade.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope you've understood now.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, many countries release such reports. As you can see, many of the major countries, those are the ones that we choose to trade because they're the ones with the highest demand. So yeah, Any news event that's not amongst this list, we don't. This is the list to trade for the easiest MB.
Okay.
Is everything clear before we move on?
Yes. So the ECSNB, it's only used to trade only this instead of the NFP or these other events.
For you could use it to trade NFP, yeah. Although for that one we choose to trade it with the other strategy, the extreme SNB, the one that's in the full pattern. So there's two lists when it comes to trading fundamental analysis. There's a list for the easy SNB, and there's another list for the extreme SNB. The reason why is because the extreme SNB is more effective. So we want to milk every single pip from the news event. So we would rather trade it with that one, with the extreme, than with the easy SNB. But if you want, you can go ahead. You could use, you could trade NFP with the easiest MB, but you won't capture all its pip movements because you're sacrificing 10 pips on this part here.
Okay.
I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'll send you this on at the end of the lesson, so don't worry about that. Anyway, moving on. This slide here, this shows a picture of MetaTrader 4. This is the application that we'll be spending most of our time on. Now, when you first open the application, you'll be brought to this part of the app, the quote section. This is why you pick a currency pair before placing a trade. So if the news event that you want to trade is in Europe, then you can use this currency pair. And so on. Yeah, so in some cases, the currency pair you want to trade might not be here. To find it, just click on the plus, then it will show you a list of folders that you can look through. Then if you want to add the currency pair from those folders, just tap on it and come back to this part of the app, then it will appear at the bottom here. So yeah, that's the code section. Then moving on to the chart section. This part isn't really important for us fundamental traders because it doesn't really help us at all, to be honest. It doesn't really help us. We don't trade according to patterns that we look for here. If it's us coming here, it's basically just to see how far price is moving in real time. Otherwise, when it comes to placing trades, this is not really important for us because we don't look for any patterns. Moving on, this part. This is the part that you'll be spending most of the time in. This is the part where you can see your active trades and where you can actually close the trades from. I think I have a slide with an active trade. Okay, yeah. So when you put an active trade, this is how it's going to look. There's going to be blue around if the trade's in profit, and you're going to be able to see your positions that are currently running here. So this is the part that you guys are going to be focusing on. So after placing a trade, you'll be taken to this part of the app. Now here is where you're going to be waiting for the news event to happen. Then whenever the news event happens, you're going to see how it will respond. So for the easiest MB, there are going to be two positions here. There'll be one for a buy stop or a sell stop, and there'll be another position for the opposite trade. So if the one on top is a sell stop, the one below is going to be a buy stop, and vice versa. So for the easiest MB, there's always going to be two positions here. I hope you guys are following.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Moving on. When you want to place a trade, actually, if you want, you could. Where's that slide? To place a trade, you could just either click on a currency pair here and click on trades, or come to this part of the app here. Sorry, this is the wrong slide. Or come to this part of the app, the trade section, or click on the plus icon here that looks like a SIM card. Then after doing that, you'll be taken to this page here. This is where you'll be placing the orders from. So in this session, we're going to be we're going to be focusing on the buy stops and sell stops because today we're going to be focusing on the easiest and anyway. To select buy stops and sell stops, we click on this part here. Then a drop-down menu is going to appear. Then in this same menu, we're only going to be focusing on the last two options here, buy stop and sell stop. So we're going to start with the buy stop. So we tap there, they brought to this part there. Now on this screen, we only focus on two things. The part for lot sizes and the part where you want your broker to place the trade for you. In this case, the buy, since this is a buy stop. So lot size and the price. Those are the only two things that we'll be focusing on. As for stop loss, take profits, expiration, we don't execute any of that because it might take away from our time. So you only focus on the price and the lot size. So for the lot size, assuming we've calculated lot size 1, we're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it as that. Then we move on to price. When calculating price for a buy stop, what we're going to be doing is we'll get the price that's in red here. In this case, that's 1.17716. Now, just like I explained before, we ignore the last decimal place here. So when it comes to adding the pips, we start from the second last decimal place. So for a buy stop, we get this number, then we're going to add 10 pips to it. So when you add 10 pips, that number is going to become 1.1781. So that number, that's what we paste up here on price. Then when we're done pasting the price, we immediately place the order, then move on to a sell stop. For a sell stop, we repeat the same process all over again. You click the plus icon that looks like a SIM card, you'll be taken to this part of the app. Then you click on top here. Then you select sell stop from the menu here. Then after selecting sell stop, you'll be taken to a similar screen as the similar screen to the buy stop. Then just like the buy stop, we're going to focus on the lot size and the price alone. Now, the only difference is that instead of us getting the number that's in red, we'll be getting the number that's in blue, which is the bid price. So we get that number. In this case, it's 1.17698. So just like the buy stop, we're going to ignore the last decimal place here. Now with this number, we are going to be subtracting. Since this is a sell stop, we're going to be subtracting 10 pips from it. So when you subtract 10 pips, it's going to come to 1.1759. So that number that is calculated, that's what we're going to come and paste on price here. While maintaining the same lot size, by the way. The positions should always have the same lot size. So if there's lot size 2 that you've calculated, both positions should have lot size 2. Anyway, so in this case, we're going to stick into 1. So lot size 1 and our number that we've calculated, when we're done with that, we immediately place the order and wait for the news event to happen. I hope everything is clear on this part.
Yes.
Yeah, clear.
Okay, good. One important thing that you guys should always remember is that when it comes to placing these orders, buy stops and sell stops, we place them 1 minute before the news event happens. So if a news event is scheduled for 13:30, at 13:29, that's when you start placing the buy stops and the sell stop. I hope that's clear. Because it is very important when it comes to trading.
Okay,
Yes,
so earlier you mentioned that we trade based on information, yeah, like economic information, which is the same events.
yes.
Now you're saying you have to prepare these, you call them, the lot size and stuff like that. Before a minute before the news event, yeah.
Yes.
But so it doesn't matter the direction of the Oh, so this is why you're calling it a hedge, huh?
Yes, exactly. Because they're placing both the buy and a sell.
So whichever way it goes, it can only go one of each ways.
It usually spikes in one direction, yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, that's clear.
Okay. So the reason why we are placing the orders 1 minute before the action happens is so that when the action happens, we should be part of it. You're following? If we place it after the action happens, that means we're not trading the spikes in price. We're not trading technical analysis, other things. So yeah, we're basically preparing to trade the news event. That's why we start executing the orders 1 minute before the news event happens. Yeah, so the execution time, it should never be beyond 1 minute. It should always be 1 minute and below. If you're able to execute it within 10 seconds of the news event happening, then that would be good for you because you get to avoid most of the movements and spread that brokers usually do at the last minute. So yeah, stick to 1 minute and below. I would recommend you guys to be practicing the calculations for price so that you can get your time down to as low as possible. So yeah, this is basically the easiest MD. Are there any questions before I move on?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so moving on. For this list of news events, you might be wondering how we actually know when they're going to happen. To determine that, we use an app called investing.com. This is how it looks. I hope it doesn't intimidate you guys. So what it basically does is it shows you when these dates are scheduled because countries usually schedule these dates ahead of time. Now, this app shows you all that information, when they are going to happen and what time exactly they're going to happen. Now, when you download this application, you need to sign in so that it can adjust your time zone. So don't worry about it being in a different time zone. It adjusts to your current time zone or where you are. So yeah, this is investing.com. It shows events that happened yesterday. It will show you events that happened today, events that are happening tomorrow, and it can even give you weekly overviews. So it will give you a weekly overview of this week and even up to next week. But on the website, you can even go even up to a month or even more if you want. So this is the app that you'll be using to know when exactly these news events are going to be happening. So as you can see, there's an event here. There's one here. Thursday, there was an event. There were 3 actually. Then on Friday, there were 2, and so on. So for instance, we're going to be trading this one. What you basically need to get from it is that it's happening at 03:30 in Australia, and it's a retail sales event. Now, if you go back to the list of news events, retail sales appears here. So we're definitely going to be trading that with the easiest MB. So if I can go back to the previous slides. Okay. So assuming we're going to be trading AUD retail sales, we're going to be getting a currency pair that has AUD in it and USD in it. So when it comes to picking a currency pair, we basically get the currency of the country and then we pair it with USD. The reason why we pair it with USD is because USD is the most used currency around the world. So it will give you the most amount of demand or movement rather. So yeah, you get the currency for the country, which is AUD, then you're going to pair it with USD. So in this case, for this news event, we're going to be trading AUD USD. I hope that's clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In some cases, you might be wondering what currency pair to pick. Like for example, this one here, USD GDP. USD GDP. Okay, yeah. So for USD GDP, that event is happening in the US. Now, since it's happening in the US, you can't really pair it with USD again because it's already part of the currency pair. How we pick currency pairs in that case is by looking at
Justin.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I can't see. Okay, now I think I like there's nothing on the screen.
Oh, you can't see anything?
Yeah.
Okay, just hold on. Are you able to see now?
Nah, it's still blank.
Oh, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, okay.
You can see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see, but it seems to be like divided. I don't know, maybe that's how it's supposed to be.
Divided?
Yeah.
What about now?
Yeah. Okay.
It's
now
fine now?
it's good. Yeah.
Okay, I think I accidentally clicked something. I don't know what I clicked on. Anyway, continuing. So assuming we're trading a news event in the US, how we're going to be picking a currency pair in that case is by looking at the currency spread here. Now, if you can see, this currency pair has USD in it. So it's one that we'll consider. This is one of them. This is one of them. This. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 currency pairs. We cannot use them to trade a news event in the US. However, the best one to pick is the one with the lowest spread here. Spread is basically the commission that you pay in the broker. So the higher the spread, the higher the commission you pay in your broker. So preferably, we want to pick a currency pair with the lowest spread possible. So in this case, this one has 19, 20, 22, 27, 20, 37, 19. So these two both have the lowest here. Yeah, so these two, Euro USD and AUD USD, they both have the same spread here. Now in this case, since we've narrowed it down to these two, Euro USD and AUD USD, we can now start looking at the differences now between euros and AUD. Obviously, in this case, euros is more used than AUD. So we're going to settle with Euro USD. That's how we pick a currency pair. I hope that was easy enough.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's basically it for today. Picking a currency pair, like I said, just remember to always pair it with USD. So if a news event's happening in Australia, we're going to be using the AUD USD. If it's happening in Europe, we'll be using Euro USD and so on. Then if it's happening in the US, we repeat the same process where we start narrowing down the pairs according to their spread and so on. So the last thing I want to say is when it comes to placing the orders, I use an app called Google Clock. It helps me keep track of the number of seconds I'm left with. So when practicing, you should be using this app so that you can track how many seconds it takes you to execute these trades. So like I said before, just keep practicing until you can get your time down to as low as possible. Then you can go. Okay. Are there any questions?
No, I think it's clear.
Okay. Sorry, was that Ken or you, Dre?
For me, as always.
Everything's good?
Yes.
Okay. So like I said earlier in the meeting, I'm recording this session so that whenever you want to come back to it, you can just click on the video and rewatch the whole session all over again. Now, it might be too big for me to send on WhatsApp, so I'll upload it to my YouTube channel. Then I'll send you guys links to it. Then for Ken, we'll be proceeding with the Extreme SMB tomorrow. I don't know what time you're free.
Okay, great.
Maybe a simple
no,
number?
I'll communicate.
Okay,
Huh?
okay, fine with me.
All right.
Okay, so if you guys have any more questions, just let me know, then I can schedule more sessions to cover the same topics that we've covered today.
All right, man. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.